As 2025 comes to a close, I wanted to look back and share my favourite 25 films of the first 25 years of the century. I'm only setting myself 2 rules. The first rule is I can only have a single entry from a particular director. That means, for example, for David Fincher, I can only have one of his films. The second rule that I'm setting myself is that it's my favourite films. Not the technically most perfect, just the ones that I find the most pure enjoyment, nostalgia, all of the above. So, with that being said, crew, let's get into it. Starting with, of course, the honourable mentions that just missed out. The first 3 honourable mentions that I'm going to say are films that actually would have made my top 10 had there not been other incredible films from that same director that also made my top 10. Those 3 films are Memories of Murder by Bong Joon-ho, La La Land by Damien Chazelle, and The Social Network by David Fincher. The next 2 are films that would have made my 25 again if they didn't have another incredible film made by the same director. Those 2 films are School of Rock by Richard Linklater and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World by Edgar Wright. And the rest of these are the ones that fell just outside the top 25. And those films are Phantom Thread, I Saw the Devil, Mulholland Drive, Spirited Away, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, and the film that fell in 26th place for me, The Departed. So, with all of those out of the way, let's get into the meat of it and get to my 25th favourite film of the first 25 years of this century. In 25th place, I have Spider-Man 2 by Sam Raimi. As can be rare, commonly sequels don't live up to originals. However, when a sequel gets it right, it can truly pop and potentially be the best in the series, and I think that that's what Spider-Man 2 does here. For me, this sits near the top of the pantheon in terms of superhero films, and it's because of its authenticity. And when I say authenticity, what I mean is I love how Peter is essentially still figuring out his life and his passions out. And the feeling of the burden of being Spider-Man led to real burnout. And it led to him also having a true question of his purpose, which beyond just being a superhero is something that we can all relate to in real life. As well as that, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is a great example of a villain that has traits that can be compared to the real world as well. What's so great is his nuanced motive. He wants to be revered, applauded, he wants to be lauded for his smarts, and he wants his ego to be fed by the public for how smart he is. And I think that that is a much more real reflection of society's villains that we see in all positions of power, and that's what makes his villain and both of their arcs so powerful when put together. The icing on top is also the fact that there's a heap of fantastic action and it's filmed in a really great way. I think this is perfectly culminated and highlighted in the train scene, which we all know for the iconic finish and for the way that Spider-Man actually holds and stops the train. The last thing, namely, that I wanted to say is it also has some really good side character performances. None better than, of course, the magnificent J.K. Simmons' J. Jonah Jameson. His humour and his confidence in the role adds just a whole other layer. And again, puts the icing on top of a great film. In 24th place, I have the rom-com Crazy Stupid Love, directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. To me, this is the best rom-com of the 21st century, and I think that that's because it balances romance and comedy the best of any that I can think of, especially in comparison to, say, something like The Holiday, which is great from the romance lens, but definitely doesn't lean in as much from a comedy perspective. One of the things I love most about this film is that I feel like it got the casting right, and everybody was perfectly cast at the perfect times of their career. I think about Steve Carell and where he was at. I think about Ryan Gosling and the fact that he was already the lovable heartthrob, and this was perfect for him and you really believed it. I think about Emma Stone. She was starting to become a star, but she wasn't the Emma Stone we know now. I think that if she was cast in this film today, it wouldn't be as believable, but back then it was the perfect time to get her. And also, I think that the chemistry between Ryan and Emma is just so believable. And as you see in other films that they've done going forward, it's continued to last. The genius of this movie, though, is the way it gets you so invested in every storyline and involved in every character as you go along the film. So much so that it does a great job of actually burying the big twist that's about to come. So as a first-time viewer, when you're actually there and all the events culminate into one big disaster, which is one of my favourite scenes from any rom-com ever, it actually hits you and it's so entertaining and it's such a great way to finish the film. It's lovable, it's fantastic, every character feels really genuine, it's super funny, And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, David Lindhogen rocks up and Ryan Gosling punches him in the face. What a perfect end to a great rom-com. In 23rd place, I have the ever funny Scary Movie 1, directed by Keenan Waynes. As I mentioned earlier when I was introing everything, this is my favourites list, and I totally get that with Scary Movie 1, as it's definitely not the most technically perfect film ever made. And with that being said though, it is hilariously funny and something that as a kid that I will always cherish. I think Scary Movie was so formative to a lot of the humour that I then eventually continued to like at a young age and fell in love with, and that's why it sits on my list in this position. You know, the concept of parodying all of these Scary Movie films combined into one, and then having the underlying tone of one of the films that they follow the whole way was just so great to me and just hilarious, and I know a lot of my friends in my friends groups shared the same opinions. I love how they showed that humour and silliness can also coexist in some of the worlds of horror. And to me, that's always funny. I think that is best highlighted by all of the Scream scenes, to be honest, and how they all played out. Most namely the scenes where he's hiding behind the curtain, kicking his feet and giggling, the comical well-timed stare sequence that has been lauded over time as it's just so silly and hilarious, and the wazaa phone scene that they go through and his emotive face changes on the Scream mask, all culminating in its silly nature, and I just always laugh at these every time I watch it. It's got great rewatch value and a great film for me. In 22nd place, I have Casino Royale, directed by Martin Campbell. I know coming into this film the jury was out on Daniel Craig and whether he was the right choice to be the successor to Bond. And I love that it took 5 minutes for him to essentially silence all the haters and prove them wrong. I see Casino Royale as a top 2 Bond film all time and just in general a fantastic film. And I truly mean that when I say all around a fantastic film. From the total of all the performances including an all-time great villain in Le Chiffre by Mads Mikkelsen, to the filming including a fantastic parkour chase which was really gripping and great to watch in cinema, to the well-crafted plot including a thrilling poker game. I mean, making poker that entertaining should be an award in itself. It's truly got it all. I mean, even the song by Chris Cornell is one of my favourite Bond intro songs as well. When I think about what sets it apart, I keep coming back to the initial intro scene as the standout. It's just one of the best opening scenes that I can think of. The setup in black and white, the noir style, the way they present information to you, paired with the charm and the confidence of Daniel Craig as he poses as Bond for the first time in history. It is truly the best intro to Bond that I think that we've ever gotten. It gets you from minute one and it holds you the whole way through, and I can't recommend this film high enough. In 21st place, I have Oldboy by the great Park Chan-wook. A lot can be said about Oldboy. It is truly a dark, masterfully crafted psychological thriller. Oldboy is Park Chan-wook's masterpiece, and that's saying a lot considering he's got other films such as Decision to Leave and The Handmaiden, which are both as fantastic in their own rights. He's truly one of my favourite directors, and what I love is how he always finds inventive ways to place cameras and deliver unique experiences that you get from his movies. I think what Oldboy does so well is that it grips you from minute one and it delivers blow after blow. And in my opinion, it keeps the twists so well under wraps that once it reveals, it's so vile and shocking that your jaw is on the floor. Now, of course, one of the reasons it feels that way is because of one of the best performances of the century by Choi Min-sik. The levels of insanity and despeраcy that he portrays on camera makes this film go from an A to an A+++. I think specifically of the scene where he's barking, he's following orders, he's desperate to get out of a really tricky situation once the twist is revealed, and by a gory turn of events, something happens to his mouth and his tongue. And I actually have no idea how he pulled that performance out, and he portrayed that on screen. It was chilling, shocking, and actually mind-blowing. Additionally to that performance, the other brilliant part is of course the way Park Chan-wook directs, as I mentioned. The highlight to me is the corridor fight scene, as I think it is to many people that have watched this film and have lauded it over years. It could not have been filmed any better, and it truly has influenced so much that has followed after it. When you think about the way he sets the camera back and horizontally we watch as Choi Min-sik fights his way through the lobby, it's actually incredible, and it's something that I can watch over and over again as it has such great repeatability. It also just highlights truly how great Korean cinema is in terms of their filming, their thought process and dedication to crafting really great film. So I encourage you all, if you haven't, go watch it please. This is an absolute banger of a film. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and next time, crew, I'm going to come back with the films that are 20 through 16 on my list. I wanted to say, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The views I've been getting lately is just insane, and I'm so thankful for everyone who's coming along these journeys, listening to the things I'm saying and being part of this channel. If I could ask for one last thing, I'd love for you to leave your thoughts and what's in your top 25. And I'd love to go through this journey together. Obviously, we're all going to have different lists, so I'm keen to hear what you guys think. And of course, please, if you haven't liked this video, if you haven't subscribed, it means an absolute lot to me. Please do so. And until next time, crew, peace.